Maintaining a home properly often requires a lot of time, a lot of labor, and often a lot of money. But how many of us would slap a coat of paint on a piece of rotten wood? Well, you might if you wanted to make it look better or keep the wood from rotting even more. At the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, that's what we do every day. You see, we keep our roads drivable, we just don't have the money to fix them the way they should be fixed. That's what this program and this meeting is all about. Oklahoma's highway system may be our state's greatest physical asset. Problem is, we don't have the funds for adequate asset preservation.
Oklahoma has thousands of miles of roads and highways. From Altus to Atoka, Guymon to Muskogee, and all points in between, the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, or ODOT, is working to preserve your highways and bridges. You've trusted us with that responsibility, and we do our best with what we have. But every day, every year, we fall farther behind. And as you know, it gets harder every year to stretch a dollar. This illustration will show what we mean. 10 years ago, overall state appropriations were nearly $3 billion. Out of that, ODOT received about $208 million. By mid-decade, the funding had grown to nearly $4 billion, but our part fell to $183 million. This year, state appropriations increased again to over $5 billion. But, you guessed it, in comparison, ODOT's share was relatively small.
What's the solution? Well, that's where you come in. We need your help in securing adequate funding for your highways and bridges. That's the first step toward asset preservation.
What is asset preservation? Here's an example. Driving along this road at the speed limit, the surface looks fine. One might even question why it needs work. But slow down. As we get out and walk the same road, you'll see what we're talking about. The same surface that looked good at 55 or 60 miles an hour suddenly becomes scarred. Cracks, crevices, and rutting appear. What you thought was a good road looks a lot different up close. What this road needed was preventive maintenance. That means sealing the cracks, preventing further damage to the surface and ultimately the base. If we can do that, we can extend the life of the road or the bridge indefinitely. But it's almost impossible to do preventive maintenance with the amount of funding we receive. About the only thing we can do is reactive maintenance. That's fixing potholes, mowing, cleaning up after accidents, plowing snow, and picking up litter. In fact, reactive maintenance eats up the majority of our budget and our employees' time.
Here's another example of preventive maintenance versus reactive maintenance. You know your roof needs repaired, but so many other things need attention, you just don't have the money for it. So, you let it go, and pretty soon the rain starts. It ruins your ceiling, ruins your furniture, ruins your floor. Now you have to replace the roof, but also the things inside. If left untreated, water could eventually destroy the entire house. That's the dilemma we're facing at ODOT.
Water is our #1 enemy. Like repairing the roof, we don't have the funds or the staff to do preventive maintenance. Water eats away at the pavement and ultimately destroys the base, causing potholes and other forms of damage. We can repair those, but they will only last so long. Eventually, the entire roadway will have to be replaced.
Now let's take a look at a couple of charts that will show the relationship between cost and the condition of the roadway over time.
Construction is only a small part of the entire cost to build a road. First, you have the planning and design phase, then construction. Once the construction is complete, we begin protecting your investment. This curve shows a gradual increase, with more money needed each year for maintenance. Chances are you'll never see a ribbon cutting at the conclusion of an overlay, chip seal, or joint sealing project. First, maintenance is not as glamorous as new highways. And second, maintenance is never finished. This graph shows how the life of a new road could be extended indefinitely with proper preventive maintenance. This line represents a new surface. It goes along smoothly for a while, but at this point, our number one enemy, water, begins to do its damage. Some preventive maintenance, and we bring the road back to its original quality. Move ahead in the timeline, and once again, our enemy rears its head. A little more preventive maintenance, and again, we bring the surface back up. This cycle could go on, extending the life of the road indefinitely. Now we would have time for more asset preservation and funds and staff for other projects. The majority of your roads and bridges date back to the 1940s and before. Times were different then. Loads were not as heavy, and there wasn't as much traffic. Many of those roads and bridges have far exceeded their original life expectancy. We try to keep up with the maintenance demands of these outdated roads. Projects like the Capital Improvements Program, or CIP, and our 5-year construction plan are good for the state, but those projects only account for a small 6 to 10% of all the state's roads. Across Oklahoma, you'll find a highway or bridge in desperate need of repair. Some of these in your own county or town. A coat of paint may slow the deterioration of a bridge, but we can't keep up. No matter how hard we try, we fall farther behind every year. And the highways and bridges you've entrusted us to maintain become more deteriorated. On the back of our business cards is this statement: our mission is to provide a safe, economical, and effective transportation network for the people, commerce, and communities of Oklahoma. Quite honestly, we're unable to do that with the amount of funding we receive. For every road user tax dollar, ODOT gets only about 19 cents. Again, this is where we need your help. We want to be honest with you, but what you're about to see may be disturbing. Take a look at this bridge. You may drive over it, or one like it, every day. Looks okay, right? But look underneath. These are the bridges that are in immediate need of significant reactive maintenance repair. Without sufficient funding, we cannot build or replace roads and bridges fast enough. In fact, we've already fallen behind.
Coming up in just a few minutes, you'll see the problem is not just in Oklahoma City or Tulsa. It's right in your own county, in your own town, in your own neighborhood. Imagine you have a house and you build on a new addition. You keep building onto the new part while neglecting the old. It's just a matter of time until the original structure comes tumbling down around you. We cannot let that happen. These are your highways and bridges. This could be Oklahoma's greatest physical asset, and we desperately need your help in securing funding for asset preservation.
Now here's a look at some of the highways and bridges in your own area that need reactive maintenance. US 75 and Henrietta. Faulted concrete pavement. Deteriorated shoulders. State Highway 51 and 14 Mile Creek. Rusted steel. Deteriorated concrete. State Highway 48. Cracked asphalt. Uneven pavement. Deep rutting. US 271 and Poteau River. Rusted steel. Deteriorated deck. US 270. Rutting. Transverse cracking. Deteriorated shoulder. State Highway 66B and Captain Creek. Deteriorated concrete. State Highway 4, south of 10th Street in Yukon. Deep rutting. I-40 and Country Club Road. Rust on beams. Deteriorated concrete. Spalling. I-40 Business and State Highway 34 in Elk City. Deep rutting. State Highway 44 south of Sentinel. Rotten timber piling. Rust and corrosion. US 64 and Junction State Highway 34. Transverse cracks. Base failing. State Highway 95 and Sand Creek Bridge. Deteriorated expansion joints. Deteriorated curbing. Cracks. Rust on I-beams. Deteriorated bridge deck. Cracks. I-35 south of Ardmore. Settled concrete pavement. US 70 and Wilson Creek. Broken wing wall. State Highway 65. Deteriorated expansion joints. Deteriorated bridge deck. Rust on beams. US 412. Deteriorated concrete. State Highway 10 and Spring River. Rusted steel. Deteriorated concrete.
What you've seen today is simply a fraction of the problems facing your transportation department. Without funding for timely preventive maintenance, your highways and bridges will be like the roof of that house. If you continue to build on and patch the old, eventually the whole thing will fall down. This final graph of our total maintenance budget shows how grave the situation really is. It represents our past funding compared with our future needs. Doing timely preventive and reactive maintenance on your highways and bridges will require a significant increase in your investment. Can it be done? It's up to you.